What is going on, people? It's your boy Astro, aka the Galaxy Shogun, coming to you here today with an additional review video for One Piece chapter 1116. Now, the reason that I'm doubling back on this is because my review for 1114 to 1116 ended up being more of a review for, the first two chapters rather than 1116, and I thought there were a few vital pieces that got left out, so I figured, you know what, more content's better. So in this video I'm going to be touching mostly on some of the points I don't think I focused enough on with the last review. If you are new here and you've recently subscribed or have seen one of my ads, thank you so much. As I said, we're about to build the empire, the ancient empire of One Piece fans. Or I guess it would be futuristic since ancient means old and this is supposed to be new. But anyways, you get the point. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we've got a ton of One Piece content as well as a lot of other Japan Life stuff and just overall anime content, rants, maybe even some controversial stuff coming. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button and make sure to like the video and leave a comment if you like it. So, switching gears. Vegapunk Vegapunk. In this chapter, we see that he does, in fact, feel a little bit of guilt. I personally, I wouldn't call Vegapunk a fraud in terms of, his knowledge. He's definitely copied like a lot of great inventors have from, the ancient civilization, but I wouldn't go as far as to call him a fraud. What I would call him is perhaps a sociopath or someone who generally lacks empathy. I don't know if there's a better word for that. It seems that he was so, deep in his quest for knowledge and creating that he got overly focused on if he could and didn't really think about if he should. As I brought up in the last video, if you're creating weapons that have the scale to do what happened to Leloucia, and that ends up happening, you just might have to take a little bit of responsibility. So, anyways, in the chapter, Stussy is also conversing with Edison about how Venus's attack on the lava phase basically annihilated it, and they were suspecting that one of the five elders is on their way. Edison pleads with Stussy to escape. She wants to release Kaku to spare him for the consequences, and Edison actually agrees to this, believe it or not, actually apologizing to Stussy for making her have to do the super heartbreaking thing of turning on her former comrades in CP0. We don't have the full story of, how long Stussy has been in the CP0 organization. A lot of them were in CP9 before, and obviously Stussy wasn't. So, there's still a lot of backstory that we need to get there to understand. But, you might assume that they have been working together for a long time. So the fact that there's some emotions there, it's really not too surprising. It's really not too surprising. And what's a little bit more surprising, actually, is that, one, Vegapunk's apologizing for this. Up until this point, there hasn't been a whole lot of, emotion and stuff like that. It's mostly just been a lot of logic and science and what can I do. Not really too much interpersonal stuff going on from any of the Vegapunks, in my opinion. But even further, Kaku seems to kind of have a regrettable look on his face. Whether that be he feels bad for being betrayed or he thinks the Gorosei are going to come and kill him, because, again, they all kind of have the feeling that, one of them is coming, giving what Venus just did to the Label phase. So, again, we're getting a sense of impending doom, and Kaku could be feeling a lot of emotions at the moment, given the type of day he's had. I mean, he's been tied up for at least the past few hours. Not sure if Kaku's into that type of thing. So, after that, actually, we get the revelation that 2 weeks ago, a fragment of the Mother Flame was stolen. And that's where we kind of understand that, oh, so the Mother Flame that Vegapunk has, somehow the government, or Imu, or the Gorosei, whoever, uh, took it or took a portion of it to power whatever destroyed Lucia, which again, it's highly implied that this was an ancient weapon, likely being Uranus, but we don't have that confirmation yet. But if I were a betting man, I would say it's Uranus based on this. Vegapunk also says that Joy Boy intended to pass these weapons down to the next generation, which the implication there is that these ancient weapons are from the ancient civilization, meaning again, at some point the government got control of Uranus. I don't know how they were built, and we don't understand a lot about the technology back then, because 1,000 years ago, the world being more advanced is a little confusing, which kind of gives weight to the theory that One Piece is kind of post-apocalyptic, so that would be a pretty cool revelation if we ended up getting that. But he states that while the Void Century is a mystery, some do know the truth, namely the Roger Pirates, which we already knew. Rayleigh offered to tell Robin, Usopp, the Straw Hat Pirates really, back in Sabaody, and obviously Luffy was not down for that. He didn't want to ruin his journey. He actually went as far as to say he was going to quit being a pirate, which is very coincidental given that we find out that Joy Boy was a pirate. So, just Oda being Oda, once again, being magnificent. But it brings a pretty interesting question, given that the Roger Pirates know about this impending doom and this super world-ending weapon or weapons. We already know a lot about the three weapons that have been stated, but based on the way people are speaking, the weapon that raises the sea levels, I'd like to believe that's a fourth weapon, and I won't get on that here. I got into it a little bit in the last video, and I'm probably going to cut that and make it a video on its own. So, you could hear my theory on why I think there needs to be a fourth weapon, and that is the weapon that, obviously raises the sea levels, because up to this point, the descriptions of the other ones, they don't necessarily fit. They don't necessarily fit raising the sea level, unless it's some hidden ability of Poseidon, which I seriously doubt at this point. But, this brings us back to the point that the Roger Pirates are pirates at the end of the day. Now, let's take a little stroll down memory lane. We know that pirates aren't heroes, but specifically in the case of the Roger Pirates, they have kind of condoned or actively assisted in some pretty nasty stuff. One of the big ones that comes to mind is God Valley, where actually him being Roger and his crew with Garp actually tried to save the Celestial Dragons. And after the revelation that God Valley was a human hunting events, it's not looking too good. It's not looking too good, Roger Pirates. You're really proving that you're the king of the pirates, because clearly they do not give a fuck about anything but themselves. Given that they have been sitting on this information, even Crocus, like, he's just playing with a goddamn whale. Like, no offense to Laboon, we love you, One Piece fans love you, but just like, I think the stakes are pretty high. Maybe we should be actively doing things. And in defense of Rayleigh, Rayleigh has jumped in where he needed to against Blackbeard. Rayleigh did train Luffy over the 2 years, and he does probably, like Shanks, bet the future on Luffy. But, knowing all of these things, I feel like there's a little bit more that the Roger Pirates could have been doing. So, that's just our very stark reminder that the Roger Pirates are no saints. They are no saints whatsoever. Speaking of saints, God Valley. Yikes. So, this chapter raises a lot of questions. One of them being from York, who was baffled how Vegapunk knew that she stole the Mother Flame, which is really interesting because that means that Stella Vegapunk actually knew about York the entire time and kind of, double backed and fooled her the entire time to think that she was the one actually in control. Meanwhile, he kind of predicted everything, which kind of does raise the question, did he predict everything by just being that smart, or is there some ability to see the future somewhere, or some tablet with some predestined stuff that would tell him this? Though I seriously doubt it would be that granular, but it's really an impressive play by Vegapunk to be able to figure that out. Because again, there's confirmation that York turned off her memory chip, so Vegapunk probably predicted this from the beginning, meaning that it was a super big brained play. No pun intended, he's Vegapunk for a reason. Once York is done having her epiphany moment, she realizes that the broadcast snail is actually being guarded by the Iron Giant and immediately calls the Gorosei to let them know. Now, I don't understand why York would still be doing this. At the end of the day, she is still a Vegapunk. You'd think she'd be smart. It seems very likely that the Gorosei would wipe out all of the Vegapunks, which would include York. Perhaps there is argument that they may keep one satellite alive to continue the scientific advancements, but I don't feel like York would be a great option because as of right now, she kind of seems like a moron, not gonna lie. So that's where we end the chapter. The Iron Giant is hopefully finally going to make a move. Oh my goodness. Oda, Oda, Oda. I have a few critiques that I will specifically touch on for this chapter. Oda, for one, needs to give us a solid reason why the Roger Pirates seemingly sat on this critical information. Right now, it's very hard not to side with the Rocks, who believe the Celestial Dragon should be wiped out. I mean, they're kind of giant scumbags. Their actions are indefensible, and it's frustrating to see the story drag out these critical details. Speaking of which, Oda, please, please stop blue balling us fans. Enough with the silhouettes and the fake hints. It's time for big reveals. So anyways, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. Again, I just wanted to drop a more specific review for chapter 1116. I did touch on a few of these points in the last video, but I feel like I didn't give it enough justice. I know you could kind of conflate all three of those chapters and make the mistake I did last time, but there are some points that I definitely missed out in the last video. So I hope with the addition of this, I've covered everything of value. So, thank you so much if you made it to the end of the video. Again, it's been your boy Astro, aka the Galaxy Shogun. If you enjoyed this content or have ideas for other videos, or just want to have a discussion in the comments, please, we want to make this an active, super lit community. Please go ahead and give me your thoughts on the bottom. Do you agree with what I said? Is there anything I missed? Do you have any theories? It'd be great to have that conversation. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, tell me why you didn't. Other than that, it's been your boy. Go ahead and hit that sub button if you haven't already. This is Astro. Have a great day, have a great week, and look out for more content. Peace.
Nice.